So for the people who don't know me, I'm Ashka Colton, the dating detox expert, and I work with smart and successful single women who are frustrated with dating and can't find the right guy, and I help them to love and value themselves more so they stop making the same mistakes in love and they start making more empowered romantic choices, and finally they attract true love that lasts. And I do what I do because obviously there's a personal story behind my business, like in case of many people in this entrepreneurial world. And as the title explains almost everything, I was a compulsive dater for about 10 years. Okay, you will have to teach me. And I dated and dated and I dated, and I had gone on 110 online dates and I was still single. And you can imagine it had a huge impact on me emotionally, and kind of, I abandoned everything else in my life. Love was so important, and I call it a project love. And for 10 years I was exploring all the possible online dating websites, and whenever I heard of a new one, there was new hope, and I would write a profile, and plus I think in the process I probably created about 60 different profiles. And the whole experience led me to a place of being honest with myself and looking at my dating experiences and my whole dating career, as I call it. And one morning I just woke up and I couldn't remember the name of the guy. And even though now it seems like a little thing, that was my wake-up call. Because to me, I didn't have much fun, so I had to reflect back on a few last dates, and I didn't have fun on any of them. And it felt like I had nothing in common with these guys. It felt like I was filling the gap within me. And suddenly I realized how desperate I was, how much I was looking for happiness on the outside, and how much the loneliness was driving me to be in a relationship. So lots of things happened that morning. So you're not dating at the moment. I'm taking a long break to take care of myself and heal after 13. Yeah, I can imagine that will need a little bit of healing. But time with yourself is the best healer, and you are doing the right thing, in my opinion. Plus, you know it, I don't need to educate you. So I thought it's going to be an amazing adventure, because it feels like that to me every time I split up. Every time I end a relationship, I create some kind of new energy, and I change the relationship with myself, and I make some big changes in my life. So it's a very transforming experience. And I'm very big on embracing being single, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So I woke up that morning to the truth that my dating efforts hadn't been successful, even though I did almost everything to meet the guys, to be proactive, to create opportunities to meet the love of my life, and it wasn't happening. So my life led me to a place where I needed to open my eyes and wake up. And that morning I looked at it and I decided, there's just one thing I can do to stop the dating entirely. Because it felt abusive. It felt like I was harming myself. It wasn't bringing pleasure into my life. It was affecting my well-being, my energy, my happiness, everything. So I had to make a brave decision, even though logically it meant to me, I'm going to stop dating. So how the heck am I going to find the love of my life? So it was like an illogical move, but I was in so much pain and I was so exhausted and so drained that I needed to hear that inner voice in that moment to save myself. And I heard it. Thanks God. And I heard it, and the moment I got the idea about stopping the dating, I just deleted all my profiles and cancelled all my memberships. And I didn't have just one. I had at least 3 because I wanted to maximize my results. So not sure of what it is showing, whether my proactiveness or my determination or my desperation. But either way, it didn't work. All the efforts didn't work. I mean, it worked in a completely different way, because thanks to that experience, I am who I am today. I am in a happy relationship with the baby. And it was all meant to happen, and I absolutely am grateful for all the experiences and all the pain I created myself to find love, and for the awakening I had, for the insights I had on the journey. And because of that, I want to help other single women who are in the same position as me. So I deleted all the profiles and the memberships, and I still didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I just knew deep inside that I couldn't date anymore. I couldn't go on another date because that would kill me. This is how I felt, that I didn't have any energy to face another dating disappointment. So I started to focus on myself, because it felt like I was so disconnected with myself, that I had lost myself on this journey. I was so focused on finding the love and on the external things, like getting the love, the happiness, the joy, the excitement from a guy and the relationship, and I hadn't been giving this to myself. So I started step by step. I started to reconnect with myself. I completely. It's not even, I didn't close myself off. It's not that I said to myself, no more dating, no more interactions with men. It just felt like I didn't want that in my energy. Not because I hated men, but because it was so painful. So I needed to look after myself and reconnect with my soul and rebuild myself, feel stronger again and more confident. So I started to do lots of things for myself, like yoga, meditation, writing, and I created an amazing social life. So I had plenty of people around me. And over the time, I started to notice some internal changes, like my desperation for a relationship started to fade away, and my loneliness stopped bothering me as much. I started to feel happier on the inside. And boom, one morning I woke up and I had the most amazing insight of my life. I realized suddenly that I didn't need a man to be happy. And that was the most transformational moment of my life, because it changed everything what happened afterwards. And I realized, how disempowering that belief was, that, I had been putting my happiness in the hands of another person. Very often the person I didn't even know, because the person was in the future. The person was the figment of my imagination. So I was thinking that I would be happy if I had this person. I would be happy if I had the relationship. And suddenly I realized, yeah, here I am. Happiness is here. And what can I do about it? And how can I take more responsibility to be a happy single woman? So I carried on with more adventures. I signed up for the gym, and I started to travel more, and I started to have more fun in my life. And I completely lost the desire to be in a relationship. And so to me, it felt like I dissolved the conditioning I was subject to around relationships, that I needed a relationship, that I needed to be in a relationship to feel fully complete and whole, and all sorts of bullshit we kind of believe in. I think the conditioning around relationships and being single is pretty strong in the society, and that's why so many single women suffer. And I was one of them. I hated being single. That's why I was so desperate and so driven to find a relationship, because I didn't want to have that label on my forehead, single and lonely or single and miserable. And this is precisely how I felt when I was single for many years before the dating detox. So I called the whole process of reconnecting with myself and staying away from dating the dating detox. And now I teach it to my clients, and I take them on the same journey, and we cover a few steps. I'm going to talk about them in a second. And there was something I wanted to say. Basically, I started to enjoy my life as a single person, and I became happy on my own, and the desperation was dissolved. And after the 2-year period, which absolutely felt blissful and lovely, and I stayed on the dating detox for so long because it felt right to me, and only because I loved it. So after the 2 years, I decided, okay, I had been living like a nun. I need a little bit of fun. And I didn't even mean sex or some kind of relationships, but I wanted to go on dates because they can be fun if you do it right. And I started to date again, but my approach to dating changed completely. I had no agenda. I was very selective. I would only go out with men who kind of excite me, and I liked their profiles and obviously the photos as well. So I started to attract men who are different and who were absolutely new to me, like men who were ready to commit, men who wanted to have relationships, men who were, I call them high quality men. And that was the reflection of my inner changes. And I started to enjoy the dating, and it was more fun and more easygoing. There was no, like before the dating detox, I always felt like, yeah, lots of hopes and maybe he is going to be the one. And then a big crush afterwards when the guy rejected me or never called back or ghosted me. These are not the nice feelings. But then after the dating detox, sometimes similar things happened as well. Like the guy, and he never got back to me. But I wouldn't go into this kind of pain and drama. It was like, yeah, this is what it is, you know, because my hopes were a little bit smaller. My expectations were different. I didn't expect anything beyond the day number 1. So it was a completely different experience and a more enjoyable one. But very quickly, about 3-4 months after my dating detox, I met the love of my life, and that's another story for another live stream, how it happened, because it felt like the whole universe was conspiring for us to meet. He was in a different city, and I had a rule: I don't want to date guys from a different city, and he had a similar rule, and there were other things, but I'm not gonna go into the detail. So here I am, almost 4 years later, with the same guy, in a happy and healthy relationship, with a baby, which is a little miracle because I got pregnant when I was 38, and I kind of, looking at my lot of experiences and the history of my relationships, which never lasted for more than 12 months, I was kind of giving up on that dream. And I was thinking, you know, how is it going to happen in my life that I am going to find the right guy to have a family with and have a child with that person? So it seemed like almost impossible. But hey, it happened because I shifted so much and I let go of so much more. And I released my fears and my self-limiting beliefs, and I became so happy as a single woman that it was so much easier to attract the right kind of guy with my vibe. So that's my story, and there is a happy end, and I believe any single woman can transform her life story, can turn her love life around, no matter how dysfunctional your relationships have been so far, and how unlucky you have been in love. I think is doable, but it requires a little bit of work and being brave and taking some decisions and making some choices. So my dating detox is all about it, and there are a few steps which I cover in the dating detox, and they obviously came directly from my experience. So the first step is to accept where you are. So many single women resist being single, and I used to be one of them. I hated it. I constantly believed that my life would be so much better, so much easier if I had a guy in my life, if I had a relationship. The point is, what you resist, it persists, and the more you reject your experience as a single person, the more it will bother you, the more it will affect your energy. So there's also no point in wasting your energy on fighting with something what you are already experiencing. You can't get rid of it. Plus, when you surrender to being single, when you find good points and good benefits benefits are good by definition, right? when you find benefits and when you shift your perspective on what you have rather than what you don't have, your energy changes around it and you are becoming happier with the whole experience and your vibe changes, which is very important in dating. Which leads me to another point, is find you happy, which is the second step. Find you happy and take more responsibility for your happiness, because not only are you going to enjoy your life as a single more when you are happier and when you do things which make you happy, but also your energy will change and you will be more attractive to the high quality guys, because happiness is the most attractive quality in dating. And that's my opinion after trying all sorts of dating strategies, applying all sorts of dating tips and seduction advice and attraction tricks, whatever. I did it all because I wanted so desperately to find love. And none of them worked. None of them helped me find the right person. Only when I gave it all up and I decided, okay, I can only show up as myself and that's the only way to go. And I was true to myself. I met the love of my life. And I went to that date wearing flip-flops, summer trousers and a stretched t-shirt and a little bit of mascara. I didn't put lots of effort in, to be honest. So I believe it happens on the energy level, or it's even like soul recognition when we are looking for true love. The physical attraction is just one little factor and there's more at play. So your energy needs to be right, and becoming happy as a single person will change your energy. Plus the second thing is you don't know how long you're going to be waiting for the right person. So are you going to spend this few months or years being miserable and waiting and feeling lonely, or you're going to use that time to actually have fun and to make the most of it? Because there's so many good things about being single, and you can do so many things with your life when you are single, which you then can't do in a relationship, especially when you have a child. My life is so different to the life I had as a single person, and sometimes I'm sitting here, I'm happy and I've got a fantastic partner and I've got a beautiful son and I bless it every day. But there are days when I'm tired or sleep deprived and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, life as a single was so blissful. But that was my experience when I met my partner. I absolutely loved my life the way it was. I didn't feel like anything was missing from it. So taking more responsibility for being happy will change your energy and will make you feel more irresistible to the right kind of man. Another point is, which is the point number 3, find your center. And what I mean here is reconnect with yourself deeply and create an amazing relationship with yourself, which leads you to creating an amazing life, the life you love living, you truly love living. Because there's also a perception, yeah, I'm struggling with things, I don't like my job, I don't have amazing friends, you know, my life is crap, but if I have a guy, my life will be amazing because he's a magician and he's going to change everything for me. It doesn't work like that. And you have to take responsibility for your life, you have to take responsibility for your happiness, and then when you are in that space, you attract someone with the very similar energy, happy, emotionally intelligent, sorted, without, you know, heavy baggage, and your relationship with the person will be so much easier. So your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship in your life, because everything else stems out of it. And your relationship, your romantic relationship with your future partner will be just the extension of the relationship you are having with yourself. So if the relationship with yourself is not happy, not healthy, and they're lacking things, that will be reflected in your romantic relationship. So it makes sense to do some work here and now to create an awesome relationship with yourself. And this will also give you the sense of security like no man can give you, because women very often also looking for stability and security in a relationship, but your relationship with yourself should give you that too, and that is more reliable source than the security which comes from the romantic relationship, which, let's be true, can come and go, you know, nothing lasts forever, but the relationship with yourself does. And the next step is fall in love with yourself. Self-love was a game changer for me, because self-love changes so much. When you start to love yourself, you stop looking for approval, which means that you can show up as you, authentically, unapologetically, in dating, and you will be attracting the right kind of guys. Because what I was doing for so many years, I was applying all sorts of tactics and all sorts of techniques and tips, and I wasn't being myself. Because I was sitting at the table and thinking, can I say that? Or shall I say this? I was editing constantly in my head to appear like the right person. Like, I didn't even have a clue what the guys were expecting, right? And nobody has. But I thought if I said this, he would probably like me more. But if I didn't say that, if I said that, maybe he wouldn't like me more. So it was constantly like being in my head, not being present with the experience. Not because of that, I created so much disconnection between me and the dates. And everything changed for me when I started to be me. And that's the most important part, because when you start loving yourself, you give yourself permission to be you, and that is the best gift you can give to yourself. But many other things change. Like, for example, you look at your boundaries and you set stronger boundaries which protect you in dating and prevent you from getting hurt. You make more empowered romantic choices. You become more assertive and more confident. So you say no to the guys who can potentially waste your time and hurt you. So the whole concept of loving yourself is a big thing. I'm currently doing a course on self-love, and as I'm doing it, I create it. I mean, I'm creating it as I'm doing it. And there's so much which can be taught and is linked to self-love. And my approach to self-love is very practical. It's not just the feeling, it's the choice you make and the choices you make, and how you prioritize yourself, how important you are to yourself. And it's a fascinating topic because it can change so much in your life, not just your love life, but it can change everything. Thanks to self-love, I made so many changes in my life. I met the love of my life. I became a mom thanks to meeting the love of my life. I left London after 15 years, which was a big move because I needed to feel brave to leave London behind, because I spent so much time in there, and I had a network of friends, and it meant, losing most of them and absolutely changing my life, because now I live in a smaller cities and I have a more peaceful life, which I was craving. I also gave up my corporate job because it was abusive and it was destroying my soul. So when you love yourself, you'll be making different choices, and it will affect every single area of your life. And the next step is recognize your value, recognize your worth, and it's also a byproduct of loving yourself. Because when you don't feel worthy of love, when you don't see your own value, you will be sabotaging your dating by choosing the guys who are not right for you, playing it safe, and sticking perhaps to the relationships which are not making you happy because you don't believe you can get anything better. So it is very much about feeling worthy to manifest and attract and maintain a happy relationship, and the relationship you truly deserve. Then another step is getting clarity on what kind of relationship you want to attract and how you want to feel in it. But the most important thing is, and probably this is what I do slightly differently, instead of creating a whole list of the qualities you want your guy to have, this is only a small part. But then my big point is, who do you need to become to attract this guy? And what kind of changes you need to make in your life so you align with him energetically and you are at the same level. So to give you an example from my life, before the dating detox, I knew more or less who I wanted to attract. I wanted to have this driven, career-orientated guy who was fun and intelligent and witty, blah, blah, blah. And I had a long list. And occasionally it happened that I met a guy like that who had an amazing career, lots of money, and he was kind of driven. He knew what he wanted out of life, and it was kind of impressive. But every time I found myself in the company of that kind of guy, I felt absolutely intimidated. I felt like I have nothing to offer. You know, me, poor Ashka with this little job here, not earning lots of money and not knowing what I wanted to get out of life, not having a purpose. And I felt so triggered and so insecure that one day I just realized, you know, if I want to meet a guy who is energetically here, I need to step up. I need to change a few things in my life to get to the same point. So I started to make that changes, and I started to look after my body more. I changed the job. I started to earn more money, and I started to feel better about myself. And energetically, I was able to raise my energy to the point that I stopped feeling insecure around high quality guys, because I started to feel like a high quality woman myself. So this is important. If you feel like a huge imbalance, like for example, you are a sporty guy and the guy who is really active in life, but you are the complete opposite, it will be highly unlikely that you will meet him and he will even be attracted to you. So there are some changes to be made. And the question which will take you far is, who do you need to become to attract the love of your life? And the final point in the dating detox, there are another few little ones, and that transpires while I'm working with my clients, like self-limiting beliefs and fears and going deeper into self-worth. But the ones I'm covering are probably enough to create lots of shifts. And the final one is to set healthy boundaries, and that also is linked to recognizing red flags. I hear it constantly. So many women choose to ignore certain signs because they want to keep the relationships going. They don't want to be single. And I used to do that too. You know, I would ignore anything just to be in a relationship because being single was not an option. I didn't like it. So when I started to have stronger boundaries, it meant I started to make different romantic choices. I started to be very selective, meaning my dating changed from, it wasn't about quality, it wasn't about the quantity, it was about quality. So I stopped meeting lots of men. I only met a few, but these were quality guys, and I had very nice dates with them. So you have to have also stronger boundaries, so people don't play you, people don't abuse you, people don't use you. You know, you need to know what you are after, and if you are not getting it, you say no to it. Another thing is, boundaries are healthy, and men love women with boundaries. So if you have them, you'll be also sending a different kind of communicate out there. And I believe our boundaries communicate our value. You know, this is what I will accept, this is what I will tolerate, and this is not what I'm going to put up with. So stronger boundaries, and boundaries, the topic is just the most important thing I do in my business. And I always tell my clients, if there is one thing you take from the work with me, look at your boundaries and strengthen them, and keep saying no to the guys who can't give you what you want until you say yes. And you need to just say yes once, because you only need one guy. And hello Sarah, I just coming on now. I'm actually wrapping up, I'm finishing. Thank you. I think I get all excited when I'm starting to talk about these things, because I live it and breathe it, and it is my purpose. Like, you know, a long time ago, I didn't feel like I had a purpose, but I deeply knew there is something I was meant to do on this planet. So I had to go through all the experiences and created lots of pain to wake myself up. And today I feel like I'm a woman on purpose, or with the purpose, and I share the insights from my own journey with the single ladies. And just before I go, I wanted to mention that in June, on the 11th of June, I'm running my dating detox experience again, and it's for the smart and successful single women who are frustrated with dating. They're not meeting the right kind of guys. They feel like they're wasting time. They are tired, drained, and when you are in this place, it means you've taken the dating too far, because it should be a fun and light and kind of exciting experience. And this is how it can be if you do the work, and if you have stronger boundaries, if you become more selective, and if you are a happy single woman. And I covered all in my dating detox experience. I take you step by step through all the steps I've just discussed. And if you want to know more, just PM me and I'll tell you more. I don't want to do a whole sales pitch here. But thank you, Sarah, for the opportunity. I have really enjoyed it, and sharing my wisdom with the people in your group and my experiences. And if I can be of any help, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to take you on your own journey. So I think I'm going to say bye-bye. Our boundaries do communicate our value. Yes. Thank you very much, and keep well, ladies. I'm boiling, actually. I have got so fired up. It's a good feeling. Keep well. Have a lovely day. Okay, I'm going to add the link. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.